got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as the valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast.
I can tell you that because there's a graphic up that says it's the Finally Friday edition. How are you? Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, also on the Professional or BDST text line 540-391-07. Coming up at 7 o'clock, Tim Miller from Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, presenting sponsor of the program. Phil Elmassian is going to stop by at 7:30, and Jenny Van Pelt, Radford Baseball Hall of Famer, at 8 o'clock. No Jen today because she is recovering from celebrating from her birthday celebration last night. And Mike Ashley has caught the dreaded flu bug. So Mike is out. So no Mike, no Jen today. So it's not going to feel like a normal Friday, but we have a terrific program lined up for you. So hit us up, whatever's on your mind. I want to thank Family Fencing sponsoring our studio, 540-200-8294. Thanks to Jason Green and company. They are the best. And now that the ground is thawed out and we don't have nasty snow, they can come out and properly measure what they need to help out your property. So give them a buzz. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley, 155 Walters Drive, Ralph Pepperstory Road. You'll get your back popped and go feel a lot better about your life. ReadySetFund.com. Let those folks help you out. Try to raise money for your school, your function, whatever it might be. Bob Christ, BOBCRIST 11 at Gmail. Hit him up. They are really good at what they do. Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line. Thank you so much to Travis Williams. See there, that's professional and residential garage doors. Look at that. Residential and commercial, I guess is the proper term. 38 years they've been in business. and they are awesome. National Bank, member FDIC. A lot of times people get frustrated with their banks. Not here. It's our exclusive banking partner and my exclusive banking partner for the last 35 years. It's true. It's true. So thanks to Larry Ramsey and company. BDST fan question of the week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Hopefully, as we head into March, you'll need less heat. And then I mentioned Tim Miller coming on, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. Talk about all the things going on up there at the track. There's a new announcement that I'm going to let him reveal here today. Experience Pulaski County. And, of course, we want to thank Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, the NRV Super Bowl, and the Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Big Al, what's up, brother? How you doing, Chris Lester? Good to see you, man. Can baseball survive another strike that eliminates the season, not become irrelevant? Baseball is probably going to have some kind of stoppage to get things fixed, or I believe it will become irrelevant. Dodger fans are never going to see it for what it is because they're the ones who benefit. But what they've been allowed to do, finding the loophole that baseball did nothing to correct or really to even address, when you have upwards of $2.5 billion, I think I saw, in deferred payments, and you look at what is literally an all-star roster almost at every position. And, of course, they have the greatest player of all, Shohei Ohtani. I don't think baseball can survive when only 6 or 8 of your franchises ever go into the year with any hope that they might actually hoist a World Series trophy. And it's interesting you bring up NASCAR. Of course, this is Daytona weekend. Marty talked about it on Wednesday. And NASCAR is it's almost disappeared, hasn't it, from the footprint of American sports consciousness. And I never thought that would be the case to where we are now. Yeah, that's true, Prometheus. Baseball does a horrible job of marketing itself. It always has. And Mike Trout, who's always hurt, it's kind of destroyed his legacy, to be honest with you. He never gets through more than maybe a quarter of the season. Who is the great American superstar player? And it's kind of what's gone on in the NBA. All the best players are now implants from other nations, right? From a battlefield in North Korea to a lifelong love of Hokie Nation, we salute you one more time, Mr. Worsham. Now have that Pabst Blue Ribbon beer that's in heaven with Mr. Fleet. So Morris actually went to the golf course yesterday. I'm guessing maybe with his Dolphin Direct Insurance buddies. On the right day. Congratulations, Morris. How did it go? Did you shoot okay? Yeah, I kind of feel that way too for me. I have no interest, and I grew up watching it. My dad loved NASCAR, and I was really into the whole Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt era, and Tony Stewart. Look at Morris played well. Good job. Congratulations, man. I think the sports setup is dumb. We've talked about it. I think breaking it down into stages and kind of just creating an environment of no respect for the longtime fan. I mean, I don't think any sport has been burned by it more than NASCAR. And had a horrible offseason. lots of controversy, the death of Greg Biffle and his family, and we're going to the track like we were talking about on Wednesday with Rags and Marty, 25 years since Dale Earnhardt Sr. was killed. And that was the moment that NASCAR changed, and it hasn't gotten off the deck from losing its all-time biggest star. And I think you can say, you know, what's funny, Al? Great minds. I was going to say the same thing. You can make the argument that when Dale Earnhardt hit that wall and was killed, NASCAR died. It has not recovered. And I'm not sure it's going to. At least it'll get back on its feet, I'm sure, financially, and it'll continue to function. But it's not going to be in the consciousness anymore. It's just kind of there. It's a regionalized thing. It isn't on ESPN, Disney, so they don't pay any attention to it. TV coverage is okay. It's not great. And there are no star drivers that push the envelope for anyone's fanship. I mean, I don't even know who the biggest star is today. Chase Elliott looked like he was going to be the next thing, and he's kind of filtered out, right? He's not been very good at all. You have Larson, Denny Hamlin. I mean, I don't know who. They've tried really hard to prop Bubba Wallace up. As a, one of the only, I guess he's the only black driver. And then, but you didn't have that controversy. Remember the controversy with the garage? And then we found out that wasn't real. Remember all that? When they tried to say that somebody was trying to put a rope up. Remember that? And they realized that that wasn't real. But yet everybody ran with it. But for me, just the aesthetic of it, 60-lap stages, it's just ridiculous. You can have the dominant car, right? You get points, I guess, for winning a stage. Maybe they give you a cupcake. But really all that matters is if you win the last stage. There was something attractive to me about it when you went to the track, and then 4 hours later, who's still standing to win the race? Which teams made the adjustments? Who stayed out of trouble? The endurance part of it. But now they get out of the car, they can stretch around, they can go take a shower if they want, do whatever they want to do. Doesn't matter. And I just don't think that's point system's weird. And they are going to Daytona where they will get more coverage this weekend, and then it just drops off the face of the earth, basically, until they hit Indy. They'll build up. They'll try to take advantage of the next 4 days as much as they can. They had the duels last night. I mean, I didn't watch them. I didn't even know where to find them. But, we say, can you remember when, as you were growing up, you heard, do you remember, I bet you can still remember what you were doing the day you heard when President Kennedy was shot, or right before the national championship game when Ronald Reagan got shot. You remember all these things, and most sports people and even non-sports people can remember exactly what they were doing the day at the end of Daytona when Dale Earnhardt was killed. I will always remember. My family's always connected to it because my daughter was born the next morning. The next morning in the wee hours. We were just talking about it. She was here a couple nights ago. We were talking about it. And she had no idea, who he is. And she looked it up and realized, and now she's always connected to that. But his loss, and, they always show the wreck again. And it looks from like many people have said, even Dale Jr. has said, when he hits the wall, you don't think that much of it. It doesn't look like it's too, you know what I'm saying? But then it just would happen to be the exact right, unfortunate, obviously, the exact right kind of collision at the right body was at the right. It's just terrible. But from that moment, it hasn't been the same. And now they go into Daytona weekend, and I don't know how it's going to work. It seems like this is a season that if they're going to bounce back, that they need to make some progress. And I don't know if they're going to do that or not enough. They're going to watch the ratings closely. They seem to go down every year. The grandstands seem very empty most of the races. We'll see what it looks like this weekend. You would think it would be a sellout at Daytona or close to it. Al says that the two dumbest managements of sports is NASCAR and the WNBA. One's intentionally pulled away from its loyal fan base, and the other tried to destroy its savior. Yeah, there's no league that's run any worse than the WNBA. None. It's ridiculous. Women's basketball had a chance. It had a chance. And they blew it. They blew it. But they had a chance to stay in the sports stream of consciousness, and they completely tossed it out the window. And that league just isn't serious. It's just this whole thing of them trying and using, and of course, ESPN is going to cover it and try to validate their request for more money. Just imagine being that tone deaf and thinking that if you don't play your game, that if the WNBA went away, that people would be rioting in the streets, that if you stop because you want more money, if you wanted to strike or you wanted to get into a lockout, that league, which loses $40 million a year right now, and probably more, honestly. I think a lot of times these losses are not reported accurately, much like movie studios lie, especially Disney. When they talk about their budgets, and it's usually twice as much as they reveal. When it comes out, the tax documents of how much they, Heck, Disney just did that with this god-awful live-action Snow White that they made, a couple years ago with that horrible, bratty, ungrateful little actor where she was ripping the original product. They tried to say that they spent $170 million, ended up being double that, and ended up losing over $200 and some million on the movie. That's kind of what the WNBA probably reports. They were talking about striking until they got their worth. What is your worth if your league has to be subsidized by the NBA and you're not making any money anywhere? How do you have worth? How is anyone going to be sympathetic and say, hey, you deserve more? And then they had the comparisons. Well, the NBA is getting this. Well, the NBA is a crappy product, but the NBA is also very profitable worldwide. They just signed an unbelievable mega deal with all different outlets too. Billions of dollars coming in. I don't like the brand of basketball in the NBA. Adam Silver decided that, hey, we're going to just – more points means fans want more, right? The fans are going to watch it more because of more points. So the rules have all changed. There's no defense played. Load management, blah, 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 politics, all the things the NBA represents are things that I don't subscribe to as a sports fan. So I don't watch it. It's their All-Star weekend. I couldn't care any less about anything in my life. It'll be propped up on the Disney channels, though. ESPN, oh, my gosh, they'll act like this is the greatest weekend ever. I couldn't even tell you who the NBA All-Stars are. I know Nikola Jokic will be there. I know Wemby will be there. Luka Doncic, Giannis, and they're all what? International players. You can't even get these guys to want to play in the regular season. You think they're going to go out there and try? And then the All-Star game score on Sunday will be like 200 to something. I wish at this point, I just wish we would stop all All-Star games. The NHL is the only league that I think takes any pride in it still. They have skills competition. They kind of want to throw it back old school. Baseball is not nearly the same. Remember when they tried to make the World Series home team come out of whoever won the American and National League? Just bad ideas. Then they started making these horrible uniforms instead of letting them wear their game uniforms, which never made any sense. The NFL plays a flag football game at a different location. Why do you even still have it? The Pro Bowl used to be something you kind of look forward to because guys actually played. Now they don't. And that's the NFL. It's Roger Goodell's solution. Hey, flag football. Let's play flag football. Let's let Shedeur Sanders be eligible for this game. And then the NBA All-Star game is just a complete and utter joke. They'll just run up and down the floor, layups. Nobody will try. They'll be laughing, and they'll not enough people outside the cities care about the hockey's All-Star weekend. Of course, now they're in the Olympics, so that's going to replace it this year. Baseball tries, I guess, to keep a tradition. But I'm telling you, I knew and know interleague play was always inevitable. But I think it took away from the All-Star game. It's taken away from the World Series. And I know all the other leagues have interconference play. But the desire for more revenue, for more ticket sales, and all these things, I mean, you knew it was going to evolve into interleague play. But it's destroyed what was one of the cliches about baseball. I agree, Kiro. See, I don't like it either. It's not going to go away. I'm not trying to sit here and say it needs to go away. It's not going to. But I think it's taken away a lot of the uniqueness of baseball. Because you have people running the game that don't care about the game. But when the American League and the National League had its two separate entities, I thought that made it even more special at the World Series, the All-Star game, everything. And now you're taking away divisional games at the end of the year, especially. I think interleague play was inevitable for a younger generation, but now when you watch whomever play in the World Series, they may have played in September in interleague. It just doesn't have the same thing to it. And look, I know other sports have been doing this. You have to because of the schedule, but baseball didn't have to do this. And I don't think I've ever recovered. And no, I didn't see it like this, Prometheus. I knew it was going to change. Everything evolves. But I didn't see it becoming so blatantly money-driven. And maybe I was just naive. I mean, I know everything in business is money-driven. But I thought they would – I guess when you were growing up and you didn't know – I guess you didn't know much about it. But sports seemed to evolve. And you always had people that cared about them caretaking it. I don't think anybody running any of the sports leagues care about the sport. Goodell didn't give a rat's ass about the NFL. He's shown that. Adam Silver, I don't know what he does, the commissioner. Rob Manfred's just a lawyer. Gary Bettman in the NHL, I don't know. I don't know enough about him. But the World Series did matter more. Please subscribe, like, and share our channel. Yeah, that's it. And I guess I was naive, Prometheus. I thought the purity would win out. I thought the sport would just continue to move forward like it did when we were younger. And it's not. It's not. I don't know, Morris. I don't know what wins they need talking about Tech men's basketball. I think they need to win one of the big games. I don't think they're close to being off the bubble yet. But yeah, if they beat Carolina, they're in. I think that's the kind of win that would get them back in. If you sweep Virginia, but they're going to have to get at least one of those. Miami would be a nice win too. So the opportunities are still there for Mike Young's team, no doubt. The Clemson win saved that. That's great. That's great. By the way, talk to Opal. She's still the first lady of chat. She watches the show later. Her work schedule changed, so she's at work. So we miss you, Opal. We miss you. And TLB, I haven't gotten a response back yet. You may have to just re-register as a different user, and then that way you can get back in chat. That might be the easiest thing to do. I'll let you know if I get any more information. They haven't responded yet. So you might have to just take matters into your own hands and look into it. Maybe, I don't know, resubscribe. I don't know what happened. I complained mightily about the little bugs here in chat. I pay too much for the studio for it to have that kind of problem. So I let them know about that. So a very carefully worded response. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stand by it, and I hope that if it comes down to the final 3 or 4 teams and Tech is still part of the conversation, that they look at the fact, now they're supposed to take injuries into account. Well, Tech's been injured, like Mike Burnip said yesterday, since the Bahamas trip. They have not been healthy. It's not an excuse. It's fact. Now, Dallas does need to stop shooting. He needs to start trying to play the game, let the game come to him, and then his shots will come. But other than the injuries that they've had, he's been, it's hard to believe we're saying this, given the money investment that they gave him, he's been by far the most disappointing part of this team, other than the fact they haven't had a full allotment for a long, long time. I think they'll be okay this weekend at home. Florida State's not good. But the whole benching, and I've been talking about this, people around Dedmon, or Tech, we have a lot of Tech season ticket holders that work at Radford. They're not going to because of the money. It goes back to the Kyron Drone situation. We've talked about it here a lot in chat. There were times this year during the Tech football season, even though it was a lost season, you could visibly look on the field and see that Kyron Drones was not effective. It never was for a lack of effort, but he just turned out to not be a very good football player. But they paid him $1.5 million, and he was the most expensive player at that time. And I felt like they just believed they couldn't bench him with that investment. And now they also did not have anybody established behind him. And I guess they were going through a coaching transition. They knew they were going to have a new coach. So maybe they just said, you know what, we're going to ride it out. Let's at least see if we can get a return on our investment. And maybe Mike Young is stuck in that same situation with Abdallah. I don't know. So I believe you feel like you're obligated and that kind of money's invested. And I think it changes. It changes your instincts as a collegiate coach. You have to start thinking about it from a professional sports mindset. I mean, all the time in pro sports, the owners intervene. Look, we're not paying him to not play. So you either make him a better player, we're going to look at having a new coach. He's not going to sit. Yeah, Radford, Big South teams have to win the tournament. We're a one-bid league. Yes. They will not get a first-round bye. Hey, Hokey Bob, good morning. Yeah, $1 Million Man syndrome, correct. No, Radford, best they could finish now is third, and they wouldn't get a bye. I think they'll finish third or fourth. Asheville's going to be a team that will contend with them. They have a big game coming up next Saturday at Asheville, and that might decide third place for the Highlanders. It's High Point and Winthrop both won last night, and Radford is basically done in terms of trying to be a top 2 seed, but good guards can pull you through the tournament. I mean, Winthrop has won 11 in a row, whatever it is now, and they beat Radford by a combined 3 points in 2 games. So finish out as strong as you can, keep people healthy, and you get down to Johnson City. And who knows what might happen. Play Charleston Southern tomorrow, who won last night, ended an 8-game losing streak. But, yeah, the Big South's a one big league. They announced that they're going to have a kind of a – it's not necessarily a challenge, but the Southern Conference and the Big South are going to play each other twice going forward. That'll help with scheduling. At some point, it'd be great to see, I think, the Big South be absorbed by the SoCon. They make one massive league, basketball league. That would make a lot of sense. But we'll see how all that plays out long term. This may be a way to dive into that. So it was a big announcement yesterday that the Southern Conference and the Big South are going to join together for some non-conference games starting next year. It's great news, by the way, and I mean great news. Does it just make sense for the Big South, especially if they start losing members to other leagues? High Point wants to buy their way into the Atlantic 10. Their president's offering money to go join that league. I found that out last Saturday. He's going around saying, look, I'll pay you a couple $1 million. You let us in. So we'll see what happens there. And I think if that were to happen, and you might see the Big South be forced to make a bold aggressive play. We'll see. Johnson City Moore says maybe Kenny Chesney will stop by and sing for you. Is that where he's from? What's up, Dusk? Good morning. Tim Miller's going to join us, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, here at 7. We'll talk more racing, more information. They have more news. And then Coach Elmassian wanted to come on and talk a little bit more about Mr. Worsham and his personal relationship, of course, who passed away a couple days ago. We're good, Dusk. Hope you are, man. Thanks for chiming in. Please subscribe to the channel, man. Oh, okay. So he's an ETSU grad. I didn't know that about Kenny Chesney. That's cool. Pay for play, that's what it's called now. It's no longer NIL. It's kind of like Apollo and Rocky 3. Rocky was now marketed as the big draw, so let him win the race on the beach to make him think he's faster and better than he is. That's a good analogy, Wayne. It does put you in that mindset. That's a really good analogy. I think knowing what Radford did with its roster this year, those guys are going to play. No, Will and I actually talked yesterday. No, Will usually takes time off this time of year anyway from the show because there's nothing going on. And this is when he gets things in order as much as he can with Tech Sideline. So he'll be back with us when we get closer to spring ball. Then we'll take the summer off, and then he'll join us again once we get into football. But no, we're all good with Will. Although he's facing some hard facts right now with Tech Sideline and the lack of, I know people get tired of hearing it, but the lack of access they're getting, they're going to have to figure some things out. People subscribe to them, and he and I were just talking about this yesterday, to get the kind of info they don't get anywhere else, and they're not. So, yeah. So, yeah, he'll be reading his Spider-Man collections during the time off. So I hope they get it worked out. Tech Sideline's been around, since 95? Now, they functioned before. They were never given press credentials for a long time, and Chris Coleman can write about anything. So they'll be okay, but it's kind of put them in a little tough spot. Got him in a tough spot. So we'll see. But no, he'll be back in the spring. And as a matter of fact, he's moving into his new house, and he was talking about how good his backdrop. He's got a whole new mindset of how he's going to set his backdrop as he's doing the show. We were just talking about that yesterday. So I said, yeah, man, just let me know when you want to jump back on. So that was cool. But no, we're all good. And it was Jen's birthday yesterday. It was crazy. I put, hey, everybody, join me in wishing Jen a happy birthday and all that. And it had over like 5,000 interactions. It just blew me away. It was great. And I think Jen probably celebrated a little hard last night. So she'll be back with us next week. And Mike Ashley, Mike, if you're watching, you sounded like an ad for death. Mike has got this flu full throttle, folks. So Mike won't be with us. He will not be with us. Morning, Rodney. How are you? Oh, happy birthday, Mrs. Prometheus. That's cool. That's very cool. She shares the same birthday as the first lady of the program. Friday the 13th. I wasn't as big into that. Wasn't a big Friday the 13th franchise fan. Man, I saw the first couple. Wait a minute, Prometheus. So your wife's birthday is the 12th, and then yours is Valentine's Day? Oh, happy Valentine's Day and birthday. You know what, Wayne? And ladies, take care of your dudes on Valentine's Day. Okay? Wayne, you better take care of lovely Carol. Go buy her a nice Valentine's Hot Wheel car. She'll love that. Yeah, do that. Do that. But yeah, Mike will be okay. He just got the flu very badly. Very, very badly. After baseball today, too, I'm sure Tech plays, don't they? They've got to play today, right? Everybody's playing today. It's National Baseball Day, National Collegiate Baseball Day. See who Tech baseball's playing. Brett Renfro's the starting pitcher. Let's see here. Oh, William and Mary. 3 o'clock. It's now 1 o'clock. Yeah, everybody's playing a doubleheader tomorrow. Radford 2, Tech playing a doubleheader tomorrow because of Sunday is going to be a washout. Yep. Yep. Yep, yep. Or says we have a Valentine's dinner tonight. Yeah, don't do it on Saturday. Yeah, don't do it on Valentine's Day. Oh, Looper's Restaurant. Should be a great way to meet new people while looped. Morris, are you insinuating that alcohol may be involved? No. Yeah, Mike sounded terrible. It's like, why did you call? Just hang up and text me. You obviously don't feel like talking. Yeah, so Michael over Jason for me. Yeah. But I didn't religiously follow the movies beyond the first Halloween. I just always really liked and respected what that movie set up for the rest of that genre. Yeah, William and Mary baseball. Yay. But so, yeah, I mean, that one movie, like Halloween 2, it started to jump the shark, and then they got progressively worse. And I went like an idiot. I remember going to see they released later ones the last 5 years. Remember the first one they re-released? I don't know the name of it. They got Jamie Lee back for the first time. It wasn't very good. And I can never keep any of the monsters in order. So Michael, I know. Jason, and who was the guy in Nightmare? Is that Freddy Krueger? Is that right? Help me out, Chad. I know that sounds stupid for me not to know. Is that right? So it's Jason, Michael, and Freddy. I never got into those either. I like the concept of those. Don't fall asleep, right? Attacking you in your dreams. That's cool. That's kind of cool. That's a cool concept. But I never really got into those either. Because if I'm going to watch a good horror movie, I want it to be a horror movie. I don't want a bunch of cut up nastiness. That's not. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Prometheus. Yeah, like Poltergeist. That's a good. And that scares you. I never liked The Shining. I always thought The Shining was overdone. Jaws is considered a horror movie, and I think it does qualify with the way that it was presented by Spielberg. Great movie. Matter of fact, I think it's my daughter's all-time favorite movie. She wrote a thesis paper on it. She did. Yeah, is that what it was? H2O. Okay, thank you. Very romantic. Well, that's why we love Carol, because she wanted to go see that movie. But yeah, you want horror to be just that, I don't think there's enough talented people left in Hollywood to make a really good horror movie. Like, it's a genre that, I don't know. She put up with seeing it instead of wanting to. Well, sometimes you have to do that. I think we're at the point to where we can't expect anything really to be worth spending money on to go see anymore. And I hate that. I think at some point, the one thing AI is going to do is make you, speaking of not having self-awareness, idiotic Hollywood with a bunch of adult pretenders who don't do anything on their own. And the way they spew off about their politics, they're already irrelevant. They're going to become even more and more irrelevant as we come along, because AI, people are showing clips of like things they're putting together in AI. And once that gets advanced a little more, you won't be able to tell hardly the difference between AI and real actors and real scenes and things like that. That's where AI is really going to hit first. It's going to hit Hollywood and television. And people now are going to create AI studios, much like, you had Pixar and all those studios that popped up. You're going to have AI television production studios coming up, and they're going to just specialize in making classics. Now, I don't know how it's going to work because you can't use actors in their images and so forth. Are we going to start seeing actors, make contact and make contracts and just to use their images? Brandon says the NFL writes a masterpiece every year called Thursday Night Football. Yeah. Oof. So bad. So bad. I know it's changed for me when I can sit here and say, I'm glad that football's over. Like, I was over college football, and then you had all the movement in the off season and this money that's being thrown around, the whole Duke Miami situation. I'm ready. I was ready to have a break from it. I'm ready to break away from the NFL for a while. I don't think Roger Goodell is going to address anything that he needs to. Roger Goodell has been very quiet since the controversy of Sunday. And I'm telling you, one of the reasons you watch this program, what did I see yesterday? People have called on to the I'm not going to get into political BS because I hate it more than anything. But what was done and said during that halftime performance, that somehow no one has checked the translation of it, is now everywhere. Everybody's talking about that's why Goodell should be fired. They're not worried about the political part of it. They're saying the fact that was signed off on and not checked, and now the translation, go look at it. You find it on X. Go look and see what was being said and insinuated during, and not really even insinuated, what was being thrown out there. I mean, if we tried to do it in English, they would have never been approved, and they'd have been kicked off the stage, and probably the FCC would have cut the game off the air. Ryan Pry, the attorney, says the Super Bowl was your average Thursday night game. Yes, that's a good point. It was. It turned out to be. And that's about the excitement level I had for it too, Ryan. It is Prometheus, but as all other things, it's soon to be ruined. March Madness, the NCAA basketball tournament, is by far the best sporting event we have in this country. And it'll change next year. 68 teams are gone. They're going to go, 76, I think, first, and then it'll end up being in the 90s, and then it'll be, let's go, 128, and then it won't mean a damn thing. Any way to present more games, any way to create more rounds, and of course, they're going to do it. You better enjoy it this year one more time. It is the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament are unlike anything really we have in sports. When you have the first half of the bracket open up on Thursday and then the second half on Friday, there's still a vibe and there's still a feeling there that reminds us of how excited we got when we were in school. We couldn't wait. We just wanted to get out of school to go watch the games. Like, I think workplaces across the country on Thursday and Friday around noon, 12:07 tip-off, should let everybody off work. And who knows, maybe I'll be part of my 4th NCAA tournament this year. Who knows? Yeah, we're going to do a bracket. I'll set it up and put it on the Facebook page. We usually get quite a few people, and we'll try to figure out if we can maybe get some prize support from our sponsors too. Brandon says the college basketball fan base just needs to band together and keep it at 68. Yeah, it is perfect. And I really get excited over the first 4. I think they've done a nice job. Dayton's a great host. Of course, that's where Radford got their first ever NCAA win when we beat LIU Brooklyn to go play Villanova the year they won it, obviously, 2018. But it's the perfect number now. And the first 2 nights of the first 4 I love it. I'm generally excited about the first 4. I really am. It's good stuff. And I don't know how they're going to change that, but they are. And then you're going to have this whole thing be watered down to where what they want, the power leagues want to be able to get 10 or 12 of their teams in every year. And that's where we're headed, unfortunately. I don't want to watch the power teams play each other. That's what conference tournaments are for. For some reason, they believe that people are going to want to go watch Wisconsin play Michigan State in the NCAA tournament more than they are seeing mid-majors and Cinderella stories fly through and make it to the Sweet 16, and they're completely wrong. They don't understand their customer at all. They don't care. Again, this goes back to what we talk about a lot here on the show, how much we as fans are completely thrown out of the equation. This is why I asked the question, how much more are you going to put up with as a football donor, seeing what's going on in college football? How much can you sit and watch the NFL knowing what their agenda is, the NBA? And now they're doing the same thing with college basketball. They're telling you they don't care about the Cinderella story, which is the only thing that has put the college basketball NCAA tournament over the top. Look at what Greed did to Syracuse. Yeah, this picture's going around showing the crowd 2 minutes before tip-off in the Carrier Dome, because they took all the money out of basketball and gave it to football, which nobody up there cares about. $100%, Ryan. That was sad. That I couldn't believe that. What, there may have been 1,000 people, maybe, sitting in, blew me away. So this is why I ask you how much you're going to deal with it. I know everybody's going to be excited over Franklin in his first year, but how much more are things going to cost? How many of the guys that he bring in are going to leave after 1 year? And then we're back to the bidding war. There's not going to be anything in place. We want it to be, but there's not going to be anything in place anywhere. No one's going to take charge. Just look at that's just looking at the Mississippi quarterback, right? Chance got another year after he was shot down. He was denied 4 times. Then they found a judge who had a law degree from Ole Miss to rule in the favor of Trinidad Chambliss, who got granted a 6-year of eligibility yesterday. And it won't be fought by the NCAA because they're afraid of litigation. How about that? Four times denied. They found a judge with a law degree from Ole Miss, and now Chambliss will be back playing. And how does 4 times being denied come in second to one judge who says it's okay? I don't understand. Tim Miller getting ready to join us here, but it's telling me his camera is not connected. Rutgers' downfall is the first of many. Many teams will fall. Top teams will make more. The rest will fall. Yeah. The Big East tournament used to be so vital to us as younger sports fans. And then, of course, you had everything that went on with the ACC tournament, skipping Friday at high school, watching middle school, watching the ACC tournament because I got to see every game because you didn't have television just all over the place showing games. Correct. Wayne, you're right. There's no law. Public opinion, loopholes, politics. Yeah, the Big East's not the same. Not the same. So, 4 judges, and then the last judge said, yeah, go ahead. This is fine. I'm from Ole Miss. We want him to play next year. Yeah. Coach Elmassian at 7:30, and then Denny Van Pelt at 8. Mike, I hope you get better. And Jen, I hope you're recovering from your birthday bash. Joining us now. Tim, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
It is Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday.
Indeed.
College baseball starting up. We're cranking up middle of February now with college basketball. There's a lot of sports excitement, and there's always sports excitement with Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. And we had Jonathan on a couple of weeks ago. This wonderful announcement, the IHRA and what it's going to mean. And then you guys had another announcement this week, which was really cool. You guys are just, it's incredible. And I mean this sincerely. It's inspiring. Your energy and what you and Jonathan and your crew are doing. And I get it in chat all the time here. They're just like, wow, I wish we could find that where we work. I mean, so you're having an impact, even though you may not realize you're having an impact.
Well, no, that's good to hear. And I mean, that's really the goal is it's, a lot of my job is about establishing Pulaski County as a sports and entertainment destination for people all over the region, all over the country. But it's also about creating events and opportunities for the local population as well. And so, one of, there's, of all the things that are out there in the public domain about what's going on, there's probably even more happening behind the scenes that's not public yet. That's, there's some things that I'm working on that are about, leveraging the amazing outdoor sports and recreation assets that we have in the county. And, I'm working on things to kind of help bring that to fruition and help bring that to the forefront. So it's not just about, the stock car racing and the sportsplex and the River Turtles in Calfee Park, but all of those things are phenomenal and exciting and going to bring, bring amazing experiences to this place. But there's so much more than that. The lake, the trails, all of those other things that are going to start to bubble up and kind of show their face, if you will.
Well, and what you just described, Tim, that mindset, that's the secret sauce. You're not leaving any stone unturned. And I wish we had that kind of attention spent with our other sports leagues, with college sports. But what you're saying is, yeah, you appreciate the assets that you've created already. It's going to just continue to enhance and get bigger. But hey, we've got all these other things too that we can build up. And I love that, man. And that's why you guys are accomplishing what you're getting done.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. And, you know, like the Speedway and the IHRA it's been kind of dominating the headlines, but
sure.
You know, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a big deal. And, you know, the more I see of what's going on there, I'll tell you, keep an eye on the Pulaski County Motorsports Park page, Facebook page later today. There's going to be a big announcement. We're bringing in a big name stock car personality, former driver who's going to play a major leadership role in that facility going forward. And there's some exciting things that are brewing with regard to that first race on March 21st, weather permitting.
Yes.
You know, I've tried to explain to everybody, guys, you know, it could be 70 and sunny on March 21st, or it could be snowing and 29 degrees.
Absolutely.
So we're all prepared for that, but I think everybody understands.
Yeah, and remind people where you came from when you got to Pulaski County, and even you're walking around going, wow, I don't know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow, right?
I mean, yeah. You know, I mean, I came from Richmond, but you know, it's not enormously different, but it's a little bit. It's usually 4 or 5 degrees colder, and this year's probably an exception. But there's been a lot of snow in Richmond too, but there's been an awful lot of snow here this year.
Yes, too much. Well, Jonathan told me a few days ago about your announcement. I've kept it quiet. I didn't want to take the thunder away from you guys, so watch out later today. But it's really cool. It's really cool, and I think people are going to go, wow, they are getting this stuff done. They are serious about all this. But I'm telling you, since we had the announcement here, people are going nuts. Racing being part of this community, and not just in Pulaski County, but the whole New River Valley it's just such a natural relationship. And you guys bringing that back has just been an explosion of interest. It really has.
Yeah. I mean, I think I told you before, you know, when I first got here and I first saw that facility and looked at it, I'm like, there is no way we can't, you know, figure out how to leverage that facility, bring racing back. Like you said, it's so important to so many people in this community and this region. And, you know, to me, it wasn't an option. You know, Jonathan didn't necessarily see it that way. I had to convince him a little bit and some other people, but I think now, especially now that the IHRA has come into the fold, you know, it's amazing how things work out.
Well, and you from Richmond, you know, you have a successful racing program there. And last time I checked, right, over the years in Richmond. So you come from that understanding how important that is. That had to be a huge asset, right, to the people up here, because you're coming from that experience at the Richmond Speedway. So,
yeah, it's funny. You know, I can remember years ago, a lot of the local politicians in Richmond, the mayor and the city manager, always referred to Richmond Raceway as, hey, we have 2 Super Bowls a year in Richmond. I mean, that's the impact that they saw in that facility.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we have questions in chat here. So you mentioned the lake, all the other assets, the trails. Runners are saying what kind of things are going to be there for them as they hit the trails, and that's so important. That has become almost like the unofficial hobby here in the New River Valley of people hitting the walking and running trails during the season.
Yeah, and cycling.
No question.
Yeah, it's I will share a little bit of something that we're working on. So I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I have a cycling background, and you know, when I came here, I didn't really intend to focus on cycling, but every time I've turned around, there's just more evidence that cycling tourism needed to be part of our strategy. And so we're actually working right now on a big, what's called a gravel race. It's kind of a combination between a mountain bike race and a road race, and it'll leverage trails and fire roads and even some paved roads all around the county, and we'll draw participants from all over the country. And I think it's one of those things that's really going to open people's eyes to what's here, and really attract people from all over the country to come and have an experience here in Pulaski. And that will sort of spawn other things, down the road, whether it's a trail run or, other sort of hiking events. So there's a lot happening on the trail side. And then as far as the lake goes, we're bringing the jet ski race back this year, this will be the 4th year of that event. It keeps growing, and we're going to do some things just this year to try and make it even more spectator friendly and more participation friendly, if you will. And then we've got this kayak fishing event that's coming in May that is going to give it'll bring a lot of professional anglers from all over the East Coast, but it's also going to give local fishermen and local anglers an opportunity to take part in that event. So yeah, there's a lot going on out there, and there's more to come.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you have enough hours in the day because of all the opportunities.
I don't either.
Yeah. You're finding that out.
That's why we have to do this at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I know, that's right. You had to get on. Yeah, I gotta get going, Rick. I gotta go. So you come here to Pulaski County, director of sports, tourism, entertainment, new position, right? A whole new thing. Has it even exceeded what you believed it could be with what you've done so far?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I coming into this, I had a pretty big vision, and it's funny. I was looking back at the strategic plan we put together about a year ago, and I even said to Jonathan and the STEA board, I was like, we're actually tracking pretty well on this thing. I think what has happened with the Speedway has certainly exceeded my expectations. Again, with the IHRA coming in, that wasn't necessarily something that was anticipated. It was something that kind of happened as a result of the things we were doing out there. And that's sort of that was sort of like the best case scenario that just sort of came to be. So that has exceeded my expectations a little bit. Everything else is tracking kind of in the direction that I'd hoped. I don't want to say that I expected, but certainly that I hoped.
Sure. Well, since we've had you on here, I've gotten 5 or 6, 7 people asking, this is cool, on our professional door text line. What about concerts and music? I know that's in the plan. Jonathan said that's something you guys have right there in your wheelhouse, but people love to go. These things that are happening down the road, these outdoor things that are happening with concerts. Where are we on the future of maybe, musical acts coming here to County?
It's definitely part of the plan. I would say, and it'll probably start a little smaller and grow over time, because, the way that a lot of those artists work, and I've been in that industry before, a lot of the bigger names get booked 12, 18 months out.
That's a good point. Yep.
And so it's definitely something that we're looking at, and something that we will definitely be doing. But I would say for this summer, we will do some live music, whether it's at the Speedway or maybe even at Calfee Park, possibly even, over the next winter in the Sportsplex. But it'll probably start off as more sort of local artist kind of stuff, and grow from there as we're able to, get the way they route these artists. You kind of got to find the ones that are already being routed in this direction, and try to find a date that works for them. So it's it's a little bit of a longer process, but live music is definitely part of the plan.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point you make. You can't just call, an act and say, "Hey, what are you doing next week?" Well, it doesn't work that way, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
What about golf events, things like that? I get a lot of questions about that too. We have beautiful opportunities for that too in Pulaski County and beyond.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've definitely talked to some golf organizations. There's some interesting things. For example, there's the long drive competitions that are out there. I've had some conversations with them. There is some interest. Those conversations are ongoing. I've had some conversations with some of the bigger kind of junior golf tournament operators. So they're, and even the VSGA on some of their amateur championships and those open championships and those kinds of things. So that's definitely, those are things that are definitely in the queue and are being worked on. But these things take time.
They do. Exactly.
Especially when you're trying to do them all at once.
Well, that's right. Folks, anything you're asking, trust me, it's on their radar. Like, they're not hearing any of these suggestions going, boy, we never thought of that. No, they probably already have it written down back, probably the first week you got here would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a long list, and it even includes things like, disc golf at Randolph Park and, pickleball at the Sportsplex and cornhole. I mean, some people might be shocked at, the American Cornhole League. They have these enormous tournaments that draw people from all over the country that are televised. And, we've had some conversations with them. And, so there's, it's not, I've got several basketball and volleyball tournaments that are in the queue at the Sportsplex, but it's not going to be just the traditional, ball and bat kind of stuff. At the Sportsplex, we're looking at wrestling and boxing and mixed martial arts and dance and cheer and, all those different kinds of things. So it's next year is going to be eye-opening in a lot of ways.
I don't know, man. It sounds like you have the best job in the world. That's just got to be so fun for you personally, right? I mean, you're challenged every day, but so many things that you can unveil and create because, yes, you have the genres out there, but you're creating them here and you're creating these opportunities. That's got to be so fulfilling to go in every day and knowing that you are making an impact and you are creating something that is so desired here around the people in the community.
Yeah. I will be honest. It's good to hear that we're making an impact because, when you just sort of have your head down every day and you don't necessarily see it or hear it all the time. So it's good to hear.
Yeah, it is. It is. So what's coming up here soon? You got the big announcement today. What time can people look for that announcement?
It'll probably be late morning, maybe early afternoon, depending on a couple of things, but by early afternoon at the latest.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep it under the lid. I'm not going to reveal it. And then we'll repost it and on the Facebook page. But it's really cool, man. It's great to have you on. We need to have you on more often and to talk more about these things as they develop and when things hit. But that's great, and people are going to really like the announcement later. And Tim, congratulations, man. What you and Jonathan and your crew are doing is outstanding. And like I say, being from Pulaski County, where you grow up and you're told by so many people that this is not a special place when you already know that it is. And now you have people coming in and treating it as such. It means a lot. And it's kind of the secret to the whole impact, the value that you've placed on this area. And I think that's why it resonates so much with the community. I really do.
I appreciate that. And as I look behind you, I'm like, I got to get you some Pulaski County sports and entertainment
I know.
Or signage or something.
I need something to put like right there. Right there would be great. We can put something right there. Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Okay. All right. Well, Tim, thanks again, man. And thanks for your support of the program. It means a lot. And we'll continue to spread the message. And I know you will, but keep on getting on.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Brother. Have a good weekend. Bye. Take care. There you go. It's Tim Miller. Director of Tourism, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. It's exciting. And it's my home. So the interconnection, too, that it's creating with all the other counties and things like that, that's important. That's important. So good stuff. Phil Elmassian will join us here in just a little bit. It's awesome. Thanks to Tim and thanks to Jonathan, the presenting sponsor of BDST. And watch out for the name of the driver and everything coming up later today. I'm proud of me for keeping a secret. Ready, Set, Fun, ReadySetFun.com. Go see Bob Christ. Give him a call. Well, actually, email him. I'm not going to give you his phone number. Bob Christ, CRIST 11 at Gmail. And they can help you and your organization raise money in a heartbeat. Remember, they helped Floyd County girls raise $4,000 in 5 days just because of a series of text messages. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams. Speaking of Pulaski County, up in Dublin, residential commercial garage door, sponsor of our text line, which pops all day long. It's great. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, BDST here on YouTube, my exclusive banking partner. The attorney, Ryan Pry, down in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning, 701 West Main Street. Our BDST fan question of the week, which has been extremely popular. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Charles Lee and Company are the best in the business. I will stand by that. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio. Speaking of the best at fencing and privacy and whatever you want. 540-200-8294. They're very busy, which is great news. And we've heard so many people say they want to get acquainted with Family Fencing. And McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley and crew over in Christiansburg. As soon as basketball's over, he and I have been talking. We're going to go over and go through the process of getting my back broken. Top Shelf Apparel in Pulaski. Thanks to Brandon for our T-shirts. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up, $20. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, and the NRV Super Bowl. Go see them all the time. 540-382-5525. It's awesome what they have done over there. Coach will do whatever we need him to do. I know he wants to talk about Mr. Worsham here today. So, yeah, I mean, Coach, he broke it down. I think he broke down the entire class. It's hard to know, how guys will get acclimated to where they are. And that's why I appreciate Coach Elmo and guys like that, because you're getting an honest assessment from a guy who doesn't have any bias, and he's always going to hold Tech close to his heart. But he's going to look at these guys honestly, just like he's looking at the guys that Todd wanted him to look at for UAB. No stupid star rating crap and a bunch of people who just sit around computer jockeys. Oh, let's give him 4 stars because Ohio State brought him in for a visit. Did you go see any of his games? No, but I've seen his highlight reel. Okay. Did you go watch him play? Did you see game? Did you pay attention to what he did when he doesn't have a highlight reel? What are you talking about? Actual footage from the people who give out star ratings. I think that the star rating thing's forever been destroyed by looking at what Indiana just accomplished. They just went undefeated and dominated the college football world with a bunch of 2- and 3-star guys. But they know that people will click, and they love them. They absolutely love them. TLB now, since he got booted out of the studio for whatever reason, says we've christened the moon with astronaut tracks, split atoms, map DNA, yet we can't find the answer to Jen's broken sykes. That's a good poem, TLB. I think she got the mouthpiece in, actually. I think we're good to go with the mouthpiece. I do. I really do. TLB, you may have to change everything, log back into YouTube as a different user. I put the question out there. They have not responded. I'll let them know the situation. Opal, by the way, her schedule changed. And I don't know what – remember the guy Paul used to be here all the time? I don't know what happened to him. But in any event, Coach Elmo will join us here coming up. And, well, hell, I'll just send him the invite right now. And then Denny Van Pelt, who's a Radford Hall of Famer, has been in town all week for the start of baseball season. He does a whole lot for our baseball team. I'm excited about college baseball. I think Tech's going to be good. They're kind of flying under the radar a little bit right now. I think Radford's going to be really good. I get very, very excited. Sure thing, Rodney. Here you go. It is 540-391-0788. Rodney, it's coming at you right now, brother. Rodney Landreth, my former quarterback for the Pulaski County High School Cougars. There you go. Yeah, what happened, Morris? I think it was an accident. They have a bot filter. Since we've got the extra stream, sure, brother. Since they got the extra stream, and I think he just got caught up in it from what it looks like because he can't post. I think he didn't do anything clearly. So, and somehow they need to restore it, and that's what I explained to them. And so I sent that early the other day, and they haven't responded yet. They did respond initially, but they haven't responded to the specific request. So we're trying to get that rectified. The TLB may have to do it himself. Remember, don't trust anyone else to do what you can do better. Oh, okay, beautiful. All right, well, just let me know, TLB. Keep me posted. I got you on the text line. Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. Joining us now on the program. There he is. Now, that guy's never banned from this show or any show.
Not yet.
What's up, Coach?
Not yet, Rick.
Yeah, not yet. That's what I should say. I don't know, man. Every time you're on, people say, yeah, you got to get Coach Elmo on enough. So here he is. He's back on Friday. So it's good to see you. Good to see you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know about – I think if Jen's not on the show, the ratings are probably going to go down today.
She
breaks the show wide open.
I had a couple people who I've never heard from who are watching the show, and they're like, what all has Coach Elmassian – wow, he's great. And I said, just go look him up. Just go type it in. And then they see your resume, and they're like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, he's affected Rick, a lot of places, yeah.
Stay a one ahead of the posse. Two kinds of coaches, baby. One's with jobs, one's without.
I know. Oh, it's great. It's awesome. But, hey, I know something here before we start talking about other stuff. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about Mr. Warsham because you were right there and you knew him very, very well. And, of course, that's a big loss for the Tech community.
Until I was reading Andy's pieces, I never realized his background as well as I knew him, from not necessarily friendships, but at least from being a part of the Virginia Tech family, as we all were at that time, and we are. He, what an amazing life.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. And 93 years, what a complete life.
Yeah, absolutely.
An amazing, complete life of now I can see, I never knew his background.
I didn't either. I read the article yesterday. And I had no idea.
Yeah. And, sometimes when you think about it, Rick, when you think about people that have really achieved a lot, you really don't, know them less outside of, and now I can understand. Never and always are two words I really refrain. Yes. But I don't know if I'd never met him or been around him without a positive smile on his face.
I never saw him not smiling, ever.
Never, Rick, never. And I wish people could say that about me, but the opposite would be true. But he was such a infectious, and when I heard listening to the show, it just broke my heart. But here's the thing that I do think some people realize, at least I did, because I was in that, 85, 86 era towards the Dooley crash and burn. And then we come out having the great year in 86, only bowl win in the history of the school in a 9-win season and tremendous year, being fired. And then Frank gets the job. And whether it's first choice, second choice, third choice, doesn't matter. Frank gets the job. And Virginia Tech has got no money. They're
nothing.
Broke.
Right.
No, nothing. There's no TV. We had the bowl. Coach Dooley, got him on TV, got him in the bowls. But all of a sudden, and I don't care who's taking the job, Rick. Could be Vince Lombardi in 89, 87, 88, 89. It was an independent. There's no TV money, no bowl money. Virginia, I'm at Virginia now. We're going to bowls. We're bringing in revenue. Believe it or not, we're selling more season tickets at that time.
At that time, yes, you were. Yeah.
They were. They were. It was just like two ships passing night. But my point is here, and a lot of the money people, they were just wanting to complete that, expand the Merriman building. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for the Merriman family. I don't know. But I know the vibe I got while I was in that office area, that money was being depleted to even finish that building.
Yeah, right.
It was such an in-house mess because of the misappropriations of money, I guess, and not being able to secure finances with TV. And then you had no conference. And here Wes Worsham steps up like when he could have bailed. Anybody could have bailed.
Anybody would have, yeah.
They were bailing. I'm sure you're probably more familiar with it as I am, being in your line of business and work and relationships with people. And the only big money giver, when I say big hitter, it's almost demeaning to a point. This guy was as loyal a guy.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
As you're going to want to have, loyalty. And he and Frank Beamer were the perfect marriage because of what's Frank's, to me, I've always said in my one-word description of all the coaches, well, loyalty. When I think of Frank Beamer, loyalty comes into that's a one-word description to loyalty. I mean, 100%. And I'll never forget. This is one thing I think you'll appreciate. I know you'll appreciate it, and the audience will. When I was at Syracuse, nobody at that time, and even with Coach Holtz playing and working for him, but I don't believe I've ever experienced where a locker room after a win, how sometimes kids want to get in, get out, go see family, and especially after a win. Let me tell you, I've never seen any program till that time embrace winning in a locker room like Syracuse. It went on forever. And Paul, this was, I think, a Dick McPherson thing, and Paul carried it over because they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
Wins are so hard to come by. And everybody from the trainers to the managers to the players, assistant coaches, coaches, coaches' kids were allowed in the locker room. That was the one thing I think Brian would say. If you had a son, or particularly a son, that they were allowed in the locker room after the game, the children. But here's my point. There were things that they did at Syracuse that was so unique to really embrace this celebration. They had the players give out game balls. The players, Paul would get with the captains. Coach Pasqualoni would get with the captains. And, decide who were getting the game balls, and the players presented it, wasn't the coaches.
Right.
And one game, we got the game balls as coaches. They gave it to the coaches. Now, you talk about a bond and saying, hey.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about that, Rick. Think about that.
That's huge. Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge. And you're not expecting it. That's something that the kids came up with. Paul's not telling them who. Paul just wants to confer to see who they're, not that he's going to disagree, but he wants to know. And then here was the biggest thing, and this is where I'm going to get to Mr. Warsham. They had the biggest hitter in Syracuse, a money giver, but a guy who was, very loyal to the program and friendly to the program. And it wasn't because of the money. It was just the support, positive support of the program. And they happen to have money to give to show it. Okay. Well, they had this, I couldn't remember the gentleman at Syracuse, but his role during the game was to pick the MVP of the game for the team. And, up in the press box in his suite. And only these things were presented after wins. Well, at Syracuse, we won 20 games in 2 years, so we had a lot of game balls, and
yeah.
He had a plaque that was made up, and obviously no name on it yet because he's got to make this decision after the game. And then after the game, he would be in the locker room and he would present the plaque to the MVP. And it really got him. It was something that this gentleman. So when I got to Virginia Tech with Coach Beamer, one of the things I've always tried to do is take the positives from the different programs I've been at that can enhance a program. And this was one of them. And I sat down with John Boleyn and Coach Beamer and said, look, I've never been around anything like this. I don't know how many wins we're going to have, but even if we have one, it will be worth it. And this is what I recommend we do, between the game ball. But I said, and John Boleyn or Frank, I knew who Wes Warsham was, but I didn't know. And then all of a sudden, bam, it wasn't even, hey, it's the Wes Warsham MVP award, period. There was no other conversation.
That's awesome.
No other,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And they said, and he embraced it. He loved it. And when you saw Wes, sometimes after the games, there was an exuberant enthusiasm after a win. Well, let me tell you, that was a part of it more than anything else, that involvement of picking the game's most valuable player, going in the locker room, and he presenting it to the player.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
And it said he was so nervous. They said it was a good news, bad news. The good news he got to do it. The bad news is he couldn't enjoy the games anymore. He was like a coach. He was like a coach in the press box, looking at the players and making sure he paid attention to the game. And that was so cool. That was so cool. And I'll never. The best one, I can't remember. It was Tony Banks. I can't remember who it was or DeShazo, but I think it was Banks that he gave the MVP to in the Independence Bowl. And I'm telling you what, you talk about, that was the happiest camper in the locker room. Trust me. He was so proud of his Hokies in that Independence Bowl game and where we had come from, and all his energies and loyalties and dedication to the program paid off. And that's one that I'll never, my mind, when I heard that news, that's the picture when he stood on that little platform and gave the MVP in the end, and the Independence Bowl was the culmination of a beautiful man, just absolutely beautiful man.
Well, I had not met him. And first year I was calling Virginia Tech women's basketball, Bonnie Hendrickson, the year you had already, I guess, departed by then. But we were 98 and we're having this unbelievable year, nationally ranked. Tech women's basketball had never even approached anything like that. And, the men were chartering. And I remember Bonnie was saying that sometimes it'd be great if we could figure out a way that the women could charter to a game or two, It would help our ladies. And so I remember I can't remember the trip. I want to say it was East Carolina. It was somewhere. And it was a pretty far trip.
Yeah.
St. Bonaventure. I don't remember. But whatever it was all of a sudden, oh, by the way, we're chartering. And then there's this gentleman that meets us out on the airstrip. And he's got the Virginia Tech pants on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm told that is Mr. Worsham, and that's who the field's named after. He paid for the charter for Bonnie Hendrickson's team to travel, and it meant the world to those young ladies, and it meant the world to Bonnie, And I just thought, well, that's the first experience I had, and then I would always look for him, and he'd always come up and, hey, I'm going to jump on the game with you. Come on, you can jump on. We never did, but it just things like that, and the fact too that he didn't go to Tech. He adopted Virginia Tech as his love. That to me makes it much more special. I think that's awesome. I
didn't know that. I thought he was a Tech grad.
I did too. I had no idea until the other day. So I read.
What separates Wes Worsham in terms of what I call genuine guys, first class, genuine, sincere guys, is when he supported a program in the time that people were bailing on the program, literally. And I know that for a fact. He never did it to get his name on the field. His objective was not, I want to give money so I'll be remembered and name a building or name. If they never named the field, Worsham Field, wouldn't matter to him.
Yeah, didn't matter. He didn't care.
It was all about Virginia Tech, the coaches, the players supporting something he just absolutely believed in. And that's the bottom line. And that's what separates what I call big hitters from people that are genuinely supporting a program. And I think there's two kinds of people that do that.
Yeah,
he was in what I call the good group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talk about a legacy. I mean, that it's going to speak for itself for generations because you don't create your own legacy. It's how you remember it, man.
I hope and pray they never go corporate and, change it like they're trying to do with the Dean Dome or in Carolina. They're trying to get a corporation to give millions of dollars so that name's on the field. That it's trending that way. And if that does, that should never happen there. No. That money's not worth it for what that man did at a time, like I've mentioned to you, there was no one supporting the program. That when I got that job at Virginia Tech, I took a $10,000 cut in pay to be the D coordinator at Virginia Tech. I went from 70 to 60. And that may not seem like a lot, but I went from position coach to a D coordinator and had to take a cut in pay, take the damn job. And Dave says, look, we're broke. Because I got no money. He said, but I'll give you a 2-year contract, which was unheard of at that time.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech, for $60,000, and they had no money. It's funny. I hear about, problems. You got no clue what that transition in 92 to 93. And I know Coach Beamer and anybody and everybody was there, You talk about the old-fashioned way, roll your sleeves up, blue collar, because there was no money, and we had to find players that were tired of losing, and everybody poured, Ricky Bustle. I mean, anybody and everybody that was a part of that program just poured their heart and soul. And I remember someone called me up, and they said, hey, you're chapter 15 in Coach Beamer's book. I go, I can't imagine what that's titled.
I bet they had to run that by the censors a few times.
Yeah,
they quoted you.
Horses. Hey, I thought it was going to be titled "The Biggest Horse's Ass I Ever Hired." It was titled "The Most Important Hire I Ever Made."
You got your own chapter. That's awesome.
Yeah, one of his books. Someone call me up and said, "Oh," so I saw him at a convention. I said, Frank, you better stop making that statement. You're going to take all that Coach of the Year trophies away from your ass. You're going to lose credibility.
Well, I'm not going to – we'll do this again some other time with the exact players, but can you folks have been asking in chat and on our text line about when you went back and you looked at James Franklin's recruits.
Yeah.
And
I got them right here because I've been listening, and I think if anybody wants me to go over a player or a position, high school
and the overview though, I remember what the thing that stands out to me when you looked at them all as a group, you're like, okay, you know what? All of a sudden, this looks like a different type of football team.
I promise you.
Right?
When they come out of that tunnel, I can't wait to go up there in the spring. I've gone there, having coached there. They're not going to look like Todd Grantham.
Correct.
6'2", 260. Those days are over.
No, that's not the same. No.
And he was one of our best ones. But no, the offensive line of scrimmages will be built in his image in terms of SEC, Big Ten. Because when you look at the ACC, Rick, when you look at the history between the Big East, Virginia Tech's days in the Big East, which I was a part of, I wasn't a part of the ACC, but having coached at Virginia for 4 years, I knew what ACC football was all about. I will tell you this right now. In the Big East days, Rick, the Boston College, with hands down, had the best offensive line.
It did. They always put guys in the NFL early round.
You know who was like maybe in the top 5, but probably the 4th or 5th best O-line was in all those great teams? Miami. Yeah. That was their Achilles heel, believe it or not. Great skill people. And Boston College was the opposite, except for the quarterback. Boston College has always had a quarterback traditional. And the offensive line in New England, unless maybe Ohio State and Notre Dame came in, maybe, and that was going to be a fist fight. They're going to Boston College. At Syracuse, we were between Miami, it was Miami and Syracuse when I was coaching there, we were the top 2 teams in the Big East in the initial first 2 seasons of the Big East. And our offensive line we're probably the 6th best O-line in the conference, but we had great quarterbacks, great skill people, and great defense. So I think when you look at Virginia Tech now, I remember when Tom Coughlin turned BC's program around, turned it around, and beat Penn State, put 50 on Penn State in his first year when he only won 4 games. Then he went out and beat Notre Dame and stole a national championship from Lou in South Bend in 93 and beat him. And he did it with multiple tight ends and offensive linemen. Took in a bad program. And that's the blueprint Coach Franklin's going. And you're not going to see the Chiron drones, we got to put the ball in his hands 20, 25 times. He's going to build a football team from the trenches on up. Kind of like it's almost it's going to be Bill Dooley, except they're not going to be in the I formation.
No.
They're going to be in the shotgun. But I think on paper, I think he's got a great class. Is there anybody specific?
They're asking about the 2 linebackers. The first one being the Wiggins kid. You have that one?
Let me get to my linebacker. If you don't mind, I've got.
No, you take your time, Coach. We got time here, Coach. Coach Elmo going to look up. They're asking for Wiggins and Lama, Lamlah. I'm sorry, Lamah.
When I did this, they obviously took some kids after I did this too, Rick. The only linebacker I looked at was a Keon Wiley, 6'2", 225. He's from Penn State. He's a Penn State kid. He, I think he's a good player. I think he's a solid player. He's a young player. Will have development. But the kids that the chat's mentioning, they took him after I did this.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm really not able to comment on it. I know this, the kid that they brought in from Penn State is, he's kind of runs on eggshells. I really wasn't that high on him. I'm just going to be honest with you. The kid, the Wiley kid, number 32, and more of an inside out / out, 6'2", 225. But I wasn't as impressed with him as the other positions that they took, like D line particularly, or DBs.
Yeah, you love the defensive line they got brought Right. You were high. You were high on those.
Yeah. I again, the young men from the defensive ends they got. Who's that one kid? Sorry, just let me.
No, not at all.
The Daniel Jennings kid. The Jennings kid had no snaps. He's a redshirt guy. He's from Princeton, West Virginia. He was a running back, Rick, from Princeton, West Virginia, and they redshirted him this year. So he didn't play. But I went back and looked at his high school tape. Oh, my God. This kid, I mean, let me tell you, if he's not an all-ACC junior year hanging in there or big portal money guy after 2 years, now you got to say that. I gave him Rick, I gave him 4 money signs. Let's put it this way. I put 4 money signs. Instead of 4 stars, I put $4 signs next to his name. And he ain't taken a snap yet, but wow. He played running back. He's athletic. Looks like he's 4'6". You don't know where this body's going. He's 6'2", 250-pound high school running back 2 years ago. And I never heard of the kid. And he's a 2029. All of a sudden, these are the kids you can't recruit enough of. You may get a tight end. You may get a defensive tackle. You don't know what you're getting. Hey, you may have a running back when it's all said and done, like Ron Dane. Ron Dane got to Wisconsin because Barry told him, he said, look, you're my tailback. Everyone wanted to recruit him as a fullback, a blocking fullback, because he was 260 pounds. Barry said, no, you're going to be my tailback, and the rest is history. But I really liked him. And then this, he was my favorite, one of my favorites. And then the kid from Ohio State, the Mesna kid, I gave him $3 signs. Didn't have a lot of snaps. That's why. He was a kid. I think he's a 2028. He's a Virginia kid. He's from Stafford. So that, the Mesna, he's from Stafford, Virginia.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's an Ohio State kid. And he is got a great second step, a knee bender, his hip flexibility, and his lower body strength is fantastic. I think he'll be a kid that is 6'2", 295, and he'll be a good inside player for them. I really, really liked him.
Coach, something you just mentioned just hit. You're exactly right. Let's say James Franklin gets, 50% success ratio, which would be outstanding, right? These guys come in and starters, and you would go nuts over that. But you're right. If they have a big year, unfortunately, you may have to measure their success by how quickly they jump in the portal because everybody wants them. So, and this is where we are in today's college football, and this is why it's got to be so hard for these coaches, right? Because you might spend money on the kid, develop him, and then boom, you can't afford to keep him off.
Hey, Rick, I know this. I did it. We had to do it in junior college. Let me tell you, coaching at Fair, there wasn't pressure. But at the time with Coach Norton, he'd won 4 national championships. So I get to coach with him. And guess what? Every game you're playing is a national championship game for the 4 years I was there. And you're turning kids over. All of a sudden it's a freshman, sophomore deal. And next thing you know, the sophomores are gone, getting scholarships to every place else, and you got freshmen coming in. So, I was in that part of the portal, been a part of that. And you have to put a team together, not to win games, to win a national championship. Every year. We played for it 2 out of the 4 years and lost 2 out of the 4 years, 79 and 82. 82, we actually played a game for it, but we were number 1 in the country, always number 1 or in the top 5. And so it's a good news, bad news. The good news is you got good enough players. The bad news is you're going to lose them. Now, go ahead and replace them.
That's right. Then the challenge is trying to do it again the next year.
And that's why you're looking at the staff expansion with those minions, because those guys got to be on top of it. They got to be on top of it right now.
That's why staffs are going up everywhere. That's exactly right. Absolutely. That's why the tech staff's bigger than it's ever been. Yeah.
Your assistant coaches there's no 25th hour in the day. Okay. And you can go, you want to go 18. I used to go 18. I'd go somewhere between 16 and 18. That was my average. Well, after a while, you can't crap the 26th, 27th hour to be in there watching kids and trying to coach and handling your own players. Now you got the portal, and then you got the high school kids, which is really like, that's another issue. But and then the other kid they got from Duke, that wide receiver, when you first asked me that question a week ago, who's the impact player? He's what number 10 is to Miami, that receiver.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's that kid, but he's that caliber of explosive player. If I'm Duke, I'm not. They lost their quarterback and they lost him. I'll tell you, that's points. That's a lot of points, Rick.
Yeah, I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be.
Oh my goodness,
major.
He's special. He was a $4 sign kid for me. But the thing that people want to realize, I love the quarterback you're bringing in from California. I love him.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, he might be one of those kids where you may never see him wear maroon and orange. Yeah,
I don't know if he's a January kid or not. I love the Henderson kid out of Powhatan High School that was a redshirt kid for them up there as a young tight end. And the tight end they got's a good one, but he was the third best tight end on the field. Those other two, 87, I don't know his name. He's an NFL guy.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, Rick, but he's an NFL guy. And 16 ain't far behind him. The tight end they're bringing in, what was his name?
Reynolds, I think. I think it was
Reynolds.
Yeah.
Reynolds, yeah. He was the third best, and he's a good player. He's a good athlete.
He'll develop. In other words, he's got developmental parts, right? He'll get
he's going to be. He is a good player. He had a lot of snaps. He played a lot of snaps. He was a 30-35 snap game guy with the other two tight ends. So but the quarterback from California I like. I'll tell you the kid that I can't wait to see. Again, I don't know if they're January kids. He should be. Is this Wilder kid, this offensive tackle from Green Run? He's 6'6", 295. And I looked at it this way, Rick, when we had offered him, if I'm at Nebraska or LSU or Washington, would I have offered him? And without a doubt, we'd have taken
6'6", 295. He's a little guy, huh?
He's a little guy. He is special.
Good Lord.
He can run. You watch him on his highlight tapes, but just what it's not about it. When I watch highlight tapes, it's just all about their talent. I want to see their talent, not necessarily how they're playing the position, because it's a highlight tape. The position is going to look good.
It's going to look great. Right.
So let me see can they run? If they're on the ground, how fast can they get up? Things of that nature. And this kid is special. His body control for a 6'6", 290-pound guy is ridiculous. He would have been a great heavyweight wrestler.
Do you marvel, Coach, the evolution of these big linemen, offensive linemen, defensive linemen? Do you marvel how athletic they are? I do. When I'm watching these games, I'm like, how does a guy that big, how is he that athletic? It's crazy.
Well, you're getting these big basketball players, basically.
Yeah.
You have about 5 Shaquille O'Neals now on the offensive line.
It's true. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, you know what happened in Texas? What was interesting, Rick? When I was at Nebraska, when they went to the spread offense, when the spread offense started evolving, think about this, the evolution of tall, big receivers.
Yes.
Back in the day, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", when I'm in the Big 12 with Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, and all the Texas influx schools, Missouri had great tight ends. Colorado had great tight ends. We had good tight ends. Oklahoma had great tight ends. And guess where they came? They were, receivers. Oklahoma State, 6'6", 6'5". These were the wideouts, Rick. Well, you know what happened? Now that the spread offense came into play, all these 6'4", 6'5" basketball players in Texas went out for football. Because guess what? They're not there to block anymore. They're not running the I formation, running CAC, and the drills aren't crackback blocking schemes. they're receivers.
Yeah, makes sense.
And they're basketball. It's basketball on grass. And all of a sudden, there's an influx of all these Texas high school basketball players that went out for football because they're not going to be NBA guys. And they're 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". They're not 6'9", they're not 6'8", basketball. But they're not. They could go to college and play basketball. But if they want to get into the professional ranks, they're going to go as receivers before they go as,
it's a great point.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it was unreal. The unreal. I got a 5'7" corner that's got to cover 6'6", 200. And, there was Plaxico Barres, but he was the freak. I go to the Big 12. Everybody had two of them, not one, Rick. Everybody had two of them on their team, at least 6'4", 6'5". And you're seeing the same thing with offensive line. Coach Saban changed. He changed offensive line recruiting. Kirby Smart, I've said this before, I'm not going to repeat myself. Biggest change in Kirby Smart in Georgia is taking the blueprint of getting offensive line and bringing them in January.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing Coach Saban did in the late 2000s when he got to Alabama, offensive line and quarterbacks, they're January kids. They were January kids, or they're redshirting. You want to play as a freshman, you come in January. And he changed that part of the recruiting dynamic. Half his classes were January kids. Well, but now the portal, he loses them. Well, if you've won and you're good enough, you go find him, you go replace him with another kid. And
every head coach is now a junior college coach.
That's what they are.
Right?
Oh, no doubt.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
No doubt. Yeah. We were, we lost. 60% of our team are freshmen at Ferrum Junior College. It was 65% of our team are freshmen. And our goal was the national championship.
Yeah.
That was the standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's cool. It's cool. Coach, as always, thanks for jumping on. It's great stuff, man. And thanks for your memories of Mr. Worsham too. That's outstanding.
Oh, shoot. It broke my heart. But then again, it's just celebration. He lived such a complete positive life, and the influence he had on not just the program, but the people in the program is where it really starts. And thank you for having Brian White on. I hope you.
We're going to do that again. We're going to do that. It's going to be great. I want to get some further stuff in there with him and in his book.
He's a special guy. He's got a perspective on this game of football that's very unique and very genuine. And that I do appreciate you.
He's great. And the fact his book is a national bestseller, man, I'm so happy for him. That's awesome.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's cool. Cool.
What a perspective. Well, hey, thank you. When you guys playing again? When you doing the hoops?
Tomorrow. We got a home game tomorrow against Charleston Southern. So 5 more regular season games, and then our bread and butter, the tournament, right? We're a 1-bid league, so tournament's always very, very, very exciting in the Big South. So
I'll tell you what, Coach Young at Virginia Tech, you talk about a great coaching job. This guy.
I know. It's getting underrated because of how bad they've been beat up. I know. It really is.
Not even just that, but all of a sudden you go down to Clemson and beat Clemson the way they beat Clemson.
Saved their season for now. It did.
It's a great coaching job, and he's got tough going. But I'll tell you, you know what, Rick? What do you think? You think this would be his last year?
I think he's generally how he feels from what, he was on the show earlier this year right before the season got going. And he's like, he still gets up and he loves it. As long as he feels that way, he'll keep doing it. I think it'll be his choice. Yeah. Until he decides.
I'm sure it will be. But, I'm watching with the suit and tie on. I'm going, this could be the swan song.
He's old school, man. He won't change out the suit and tie. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I hope it doesn't. I really hope he doesn't.
I know.
I know. Virginia Tech needs him more than he needs Virginia Tech.
He's good for the vibe around college sports.
Without a doubt. He is. I can see why players want to play for him. So.
Absolutely.
All right, Rick.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend, Coach. All right, man. There you go. That's Coach Elmo. Great stuff from him as always. Appreciate him jumping on. And you're right, Morris. Coach Elmo, a walking computer spitting coach ball. Yeah, he is. It's unbelievable. We got to get him. I got to get with Coach. We got to get Coach Elmo. We got to write a book with Coach Elmo. What do we need to do? Coach Elmo, we're going to get you a book deal going here. We're going to talk to Brian. Come on, man. That thing would be enormous. You don't tell you can. That'd be the kind of book that shows up on other coaches, sports libraries. Right. But I had like 3 people this week go, "Hey man, I love that coach you bring on." I said, "Which one?" He said, "Coach, is it Elmassian?" Yeah. Man, what all has he done? These are younger guys, right? So they don't really know. I said, just go look him up. Just go type it in. Go type it into the Google machine. And then I get these they take screenshots of his resume. They're like, "Oh, wow." I said, yeah, you should listen all the time. You learn something every time. They're like, "Well, how did you get him on?" I said, he came to me. He actually found the show. It's been awesome. He works with Greg Roberts, and Greg has done a great job for years. He was with Channel 10 as a sports director, and now he has his own radio show. Greg's a great dude. Greg kind of set the trend down there for sports radio in Roanoke, and he hooked up with Coach Elmo, and he was just somehow I got fortunate enough where my show came across his YouTube, and there it was. And the rest, as they say, and that. What was it? Is the rest of the story. Anyway, Dennis Van Pelt's going to join us here coming up. And we're going to talk some more Radford baseball. DVP is a Radford Hall of Famer. And I want to get more into the enormous challenge they had to get the field ready for today. May I do the forward for Coach's book, Morris says. I'll lace it with words that would make Bad Bunny blush. Yeah, you could lace it with, Spanish subtitles so you could hide it, Morris. When I saw that thing fully translated, as a guy who's done this for his whole professional career, I don't know how it got beyond the FCC censors. I don't know how it hasn't been addressed and how there haven't been fines levied toward the NFL. Getting your money's worth on this. Yeah, there's no doubt, man. You're not getting your money's worth with the host, but certainly with the coaches and the guests. And we got more coming up. As we head into, again, and I said this not flippantly, see right here? It's about college baseball for me here. I'm just in Major League Baseball, not worried about it anymore. Join us on the program, speaking of Radford baseball legacy, is that gentleman. It's DVP, Dennis Van Pelt. What's up, brother? Good morning. Oh, we can't hear you. Is your mic on? Let's see if your mic. Can we hear you now? No, we cannot hear him. We can see him. He looks glorious, but we can't hear him. It's got to just be. I may have to send you a new invite. Let me see if that's the case. We can see him, but we can't hear him. Let me do that. It doesn't say your mic is muted here. It's just not coming through. How about now? No. It's funny. I can hear like the background, but then when you try to talk, we can't hear you. All right. Let me send another invite here. And then we'll just do it that way. Maybe it'll reconnect here. Let's see. But I'm not getting it on my end. Usually, one thing about this studio and the massive amount of money that I pay for is the fact that it does tell me when it's on the end of the studio. So we'll try this again with DVP here. And we'll see. Something about his mic. You could kind of hear it, right? Could you hear the kind of like that? But then when you try to talk, you couldn't hear him. I don't understand that. Rick. That bastard should be banned from TV. No doubt, Morris. How many famous Van Pelts do we have in sports? Yeah, Denny's great. And he's out there all week. He wanted to be in for baseball, and he was out there working so hard on that field, man, to get it ready. First Van Pelt I knew of was Brad Van Pelt, the old linebacker for the Giants. He wore number 10. Brad Van Pelt. Remember him? Yeah. All right, let's try again. Do we have you now, DVP? Huh. You can hear things, but your mic's not picking your voice up. I don't understand that. Let me make sure there's nothing here. Edit mic settings. No, it says your mic is functioning on my end, so I don't know what that means. However your mic is set up in the computer. Yeah, maybe try your phone. Yeah. Just use that same invite I just sent. Because he can hear me. He's nodding. This is weird. All right, let's do it by phone. I'll kick him out one more time and see if he can join by phone. That might be where you need to go. We went through the Zoom era and went through the COVID farce, and everybody did this. And I don't know how many times microphones did not work on these computers. That's why I bought this. But we're going to try to get DVP set up. He has a great story. I think you want to hear it. He's a great Highlander. Baseball today, Virginia Tech and Radford, both, by the way, mirrored schedules. Everybody's had to adjust and have a doubleheader on Saturday. Because it is seldom do you see 100% chance of rain, and that's exactly what it's saying for this area. Sunday's a complete washout. So we are going to play double headers at Radford and in Blacksburg. Yeah, Bradley Van Pelt, quarterback at Colorado State. Broncos, of course, naturally drafted him. Yeah. Scott Van Pelt, one of the very few things that are still good about ESPN because he has self-awareness about himself and the network. But Brad Van Pelt, yeah, wore number 10. We talk about electric football a lot in the Little Men, and I remember I was exciting to put a defensive end on the field for the Giant teams that I had with number 10. Good player. Good player. So was DVP. He's a Hall of Famer, for goodness sakes. Dennis Van Pelt. So we're hoping to get him on here. But, that was weird. You could hear him. For once, it's not on our end, which is great. Thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio, 540-200-8294, McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley and Company. Thanks to them. I want to thank Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, the NRB Super Bowl. Game night at the Super Bowl. They've got their Midnight Madness now for the weekend. Go see them. Ready, Set, Fun, ReadySetFun.com. Thanks to Bob Chris, CRST11 at Gmail for more information. Sponsor of our text line, Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors. That business is just absolutely blowing up. 38 years in business. Travis continuing the tradition of what his father created. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. My experience with them is always exemplary. I was down there yesterday, and they just make you feel so good about everything. Fan question of the week brought to you by Ryan Pry, the attorney. If you have trust and estate planning issues, don't go anywhere else than Ryan Pry. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street, Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. And Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. We just had Tim Miller on, the presenting sponsor of this program. Keep an eye out a little later for a big announcement from them today. Absolutely. Yeah, that was back when, well, it was pre-Disney. Let's put it this way. ESPN got lost when Disney bought them, and then it ended. But yeah, the old Sports Center commercials, when we restarted the radio show back in 2020, we cut a few of those ourselves. We did a few of those. Instead of This Is Sports Center, we did This Is BDST. They're on the Facebook page. It turned out pretty good. And that's where we drew our inspiration. Because I'm telling you, man, it was Eugene Levy and Stuart Scott, God rest his soul. Unbelievable talent. Unbelievable talent. There's DVP. Good morning, brother.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, we got you. We got you. So it was a computer thing. Yeah.
Jeez.
I know, right? Yeah, technology.
This is my work unit, and I've been having trouble here at Alex's house. like getting on, like we had the darndest time getting on Facebook, for our show and stuff. And then I realized it's just, I got so much stuff going on here. My school doesn't let you get on or whatever. And I guess it's a problem.
How'd it go last night? Last night that's right. AG talked about that. How did it go last night?
Excellent. We dug into the team, the returning players. He's in a much different situation than he was coming into his first year. Obviously, you got a hell of a core of players back. Great nucleus, great culture. I mean, I've been around this team since Saturday, and I got to address them yesterday in the dugout, and I said to them, "That's all you guys do is hug each other. It's every time you turn around, somebody's hugging somebody." So I mean, the culture is just phenomenal. And
it is. Again, it really is.
It's really, as an alum, and like some of the teammates that of mine have come down. They came down homecoming weekend. They said, "My God, they can't get over this group."
They are great guys. They are, and it goes back to when you played, and as the Radford baseball program was progressing. These guys are such a personification of what Radford's supposed to be about. They are still true student athletes. We've lost that with a lot of the other sports, but not with this team. These guys are, yes, sir, thank you. We appreciate. I mean, it's amazing. It's genuine, like you say, the affection they have, not only for one another, but for what they're doing. They're grateful, in other words, to have the opportunity to be at Radford playing baseball. I don't see that gratefulness a whole lot right now in college athletics. So
yeah, and like yesterday, when I'm in town, especially on a Thursday, I go over and help out with the Radford Bobcat Backpack Program, and I asked for some volunteers, and show up with the fishing staff.
Yeah, right. The whole staff. Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, we're here to help. We're here to help.
We're here to help. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I didn't get the Mike Ashley, Ric Flair music.
Mike is deathly ill. I don't know.
I know. I'm pinch hitting for him today.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. You are. He sounded awful. I was like, why? Just hang up. Text me. Yeah. Poor Mike. Yeah, he's got it pretty bad right now. I want to talk. It was funny the other day. So I knew you were in town. I walked out there just to check on the update on the field. And I got to be honest, when I walked out there, I'm thinking, uh-oh. When did you start on the field, and when did you look at it the first time and go, uh-oh, this may not work? And then, boy, oh, boy, I go out there the next day and everything's gone, man.
I had a flashback of last year, because this same thing happened, not to this degree, last year. And I remember driving down, and Robert had gotten a hold of me and said, "I don't know if you should come down. The weather's getting bad." And I said, "Listen, I'm already halfway down there, and I'm gonna make it there."
Yeah.
So you look at it, and you know what? I could see it in his eyes. We were playing, and my feeling was, okay, whatever you need me to do. We all got, everybody pitched in. Not just the staff. The coaching staff, but also, obviously the great job done by the grounds staff. We were, it was definitely a monumental task to get that field ready.
Well,
we couldn't relax. He's thinking about maybe seeing what the sun could do to it, but he couldn't take that chance. And I don't blame him.
No, he couldn't wait. Like softball had the luxury of knowing they're not playing there for a few weeks. Baseball did not have that. They have a series starting today, so they had to get out there and expedite the process. So I get it.
Right. Plus, you had to let Iona know a good, ahead of time, so they don't driving down and
you can't
turn back.
Yeah, you can't say, "Oh, we're already almost there." Sorry, but yeah. Well, let me ask you now. You've seen it. Radford 2 NCAA tournaments under Joe Rakuya, of course, and that was the peak of the program. But now it feels like there's the same vibe starting to circulate, and you've been there from the get-go with Alex, and you walked into just a disaster year one. He knew what that was going to be. He didn't feel great about year two, but you could see the progress. And then last year, it really started to connect. You hit 500 mark, and now this year, the expectations are even higher. What have you noticed about the progression of Alex's program in particular at RU?
The depth of the team around the infield, behind the plate, in the outfield. His pitching staff, he's got the number 1 and number 3 ranked draft eligible players in the Big South Conference, in Ray Ladd and Andrew Steinhaus. He's got the preseason Big South Player of the Year in some publications, and Breckin Nace for the two-way player that he is. But yeah, I mean, the talent he's getting in, the talent he's maintaining. That's the bigger thing. And,
That's huge. Yeah.
You were talking about it earlier with Coach Phil, holding on to these guys and, not to retain the core players that he had coming back, and then, get another year at Hunter Keene, our version of Derek Jeter, is huge. But the depth around, you look around, I mean, the depth he's got is just, if somebody goes down, there's going to be somebody else who should be able to step up and, maybe not be the same as the guy ahead of him, but it won't be the drop off that it had in the past.
What it shows you about that depth, I mean, Breckin might be the most naturally talented arm on the staff. He's not even in the rotation this weekend, right? Because he's such a good position. It's going to be interesting to see how all that evolves. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, like, you don't have to use him as the starter. It's and got to a point there last year he was their number one starter. So it just shows you, again, get some guys back from injury, and hopefully all stay healthy this year, and should go on a pretty good run this year.
Well, and I know, with Alex and Coach Sheff at Virginia Tech, they're good friends and they talk all the time. Matter of fact, Alex was taunting him about the field being cleared off before they had, But I like to see too. I mean, players are going from Blacksburg to Radford to Blacksburg too, and you were here and you're here now. I mean, the fervor for college baseball when you were coming up with your Hall of Fame career and where it is now is night and day. People just have really gravitated toward college baseball over the last decade or so. Feels like here in the NRV.
Yeah, it's especially with the two programs, especially with the position they're in now, and the players that they're getting. Me coming from the travel business too. This is a hot area. And not just maybe not just here and us in Tech, but also for JMU. ETSU not too far south from us. I mean, just the whole area. I mean, people want to come down and play in this. To me, this was the South. Yeah, I'm a Jersey guy, but this was the South. Unfortunately, we look like we have some northern weather here lately, though.
Yeah, true, very true. Snow didn't bother you at all when you got here, so
no, not at all.
Talk about that experience when you were coming from Jersey to Radford. What was it about Radford? And then once you got here, you realized that was the right decision for you.
It really wasn't. I was telling the kids that it really wasn't I didn't visit this place like a normal college player. I was actually in Lawrence, Kansas as a football player that got injured, and I decided I was going to actually do both sports there. I wasn't able to play baseball my freshman year was the deal, but got injured, and I just didn't see that happening, and I decided just to play baseball. And and to his credit, Scott Gines was the only coach that recruited me, and he put it in writing. And told me on the phone too. Told my father, he goes, if anything ever happens in Kansas, you call me first. And sure enough, that was the first phone call, and we drove straight here. Saw the campus, met with him again. I met him at the Be the Best camp, Best to the East camp in Virginia at Old Dominion, and went home for a couple of weeks and then came back to start a class. And I lucked out. I lucked out because back then you had to sit after you transferred, and because Radford didn't offer football, I got a waiver 5 days before the season started, and I was with the team when we were at Western Carolina.
When did you first become aware of a guy by the name of Mike Ashley when you were at Radford?
Up in the press box, he come down, and I always tell people, and I go by those initials too at school. I mean, like he kind of, he started calling me DVP, and
DVP, right.
That's he's the credit for that one. That's why I go by it now. But yeah, I mean, like, and I spoke about it in 2018. I used to, after eating in Walker Hall or Dalton, I would go walk up to Walker Hall in the SID office, just hang out with those guys for like 2 hours before I went down to practice. Him, Rick, and Tom Bowman. And Mike and I were kind of a natural fit personality wise.
Well, and you guys have continued that great friendship. And, Alex was on here yesterday, and he credited you and your support and what that means. And that's the thing that I know those players meant. So when you're talking to them, they understand what you have contributed to the program and seeing you down there. I know you mentioned James Ward, who was the star last year, coming back and helping. I mean, that's what it's supposed to all be about. And that's why I'm so excited for where this program is headed, because it does encapsulate what we're about at Radford. Right. It really does.
I agree. Like I said, when I was speaking to the kids about, not so much about baseball yesterday, was about your teammates. And we had a passing in our baseball family back in January, Donnie Justin. And I was talking to the kids about, my first interaction with Donnie and, and my other teammates, and we were in each other's weddings, and the camaraderie, just thinking about it actually brought us back. The snowstorm brought me back thinking about some of the storms we had. I remember '94, we had so much snow we couldn't even play, but next morning we hopped on a bus and drove to Cocoa Beach, Florida, on a spur of the moment, and I remember that trip because of the snow, and I told you'll remember these times, and just to savor them. But it seems like they already have that cohesiveness already.
It does.
But I was just sharing them the ramblings of a 54-year-old, or soon to be 54-year-old man, who's a lot more grateful now for this place than maybe I was years ago.
Absolutely. As you get older, I'm the same way. There's no question. What time you head to the ballpark today?
Well, I've got right after I have lunch with Coach Jeff Beeler. And I'm gonna give him a shameless plug.
Give Jeff a shameless plug. That guy went to the NCAA tournament. Yeah.
I went to the bookstore today and bought this sweatshirt the other day, the Swinging Highlander.
I think he helped design that, by the way.
Yes, he did.
He did. Yeah. Well, tell him I said hello, and tell him I said the Reds are going to be terrible this year. And I'll see you first pitch, 2:00.
You got it.
Thanks, DVP. Thanks for all you do, man. It means a lot, seriously, for all you do, not only for baseball, but being such an ambassador for Radford and Radford Athletics, man. Trust me, you're making an impact. You may not feel it all the time, but you are. You are.
Not a problem. And to quote Mike Ashley, Goober says, hey.
Yeah. Hey to Goober. Hey to DVP Goober. Thanks, brother. See you a little bit.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Here you go. Hall of Fame. We're all about Hall of Famers here on the program. We love it. Thanks a lot, DVP. DVP is kind of the MVP of helping get the field cleaned off the other day. That was like great stuff today. We'll be back on Monday. See how it goes this weekend. Tech women, by the way, got a big win last night at Stanford. So Megan has her team playing extremely well. That's good. They needed that too. They needed a little push. So they're starting to bounce back. ACC men and women's basketball is really, really good. And so Radford and Tech tomorrow. Baseball underway. Softball. Tech went 5-0 in softball the first weekend. Radford softball got snowed out, I should say, down at Elon last weekend. So they start today. They play at 9 a.m. down where they are in the warmer climate. So a lot of stuff going on. It's exciting. And spring sports means soon to follow, consistent spring weather. And all this madness can finally go away. I was sitting in chat. Somebody typed in. They were asking me LeBron or Steph Curry. We got to get into this next week. We have to make Keon a part of this. But the most asinine comparison and debate in the history of sport may be who's better, who's the GOAT, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. They're not even in the same stratosphere. Matter of fact, you can make the argument you wouldn't put LeBron in your top 10 all time. It's a generational thing. Look where his NBA is and where it's headed, and look where Jordan left the NBA. It was Bird, Magic, Michael. And you tell me where the league is now heading into its All-Star weekend with LeBron James being the key figure. It's been his NBA for a long time. Somebody honestly answer me that question and then try to tell me that the league is better, that basketball's better since LeBron James came on the scene. There's a clip out from Bobby Knight, and I saved it. It's awesome. You can find it. He's addressing an audience, talking about when he was coaching the Olympic team in 1984. And I think they were playing Spain. Michael Jordan came on the floor, and in 12 minutes, he had 19 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 9 assists, something like that. Game over. This is the gold medal game. They're up by like 33. And he goes, so here I am coaching this team, and I'm supposed to go in, and I'm supposed to, what am I going to say to these guys? So in my mind, I had it that I said, you know what, if I go after Jordan, the rest of these guys are going to pay attention. The rest of these guys are going to say, what am I doing here? So he gets into Jordan. He goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm looking at the box score. He didn't do anything wrong. He's the most perfect player I've ever seen. This is Bobby Knight. He said, Michael Jordan's the most perfect basketball player I have ever seen that I ever will see. What am I going to do? Well, I realize he's not setting screens. That's the one thing I can say because it was big for Bobby Knight, right? These guys have to set screens. They're setting screens for you. You're not setting screens for anybody. So he did that. Kind of got into him a little bit. And Jordan kind of picked up on immediately what he was doing. This is 1984 Jordan, too. This is right out of Carolina Jordan. We're not talking about the established machine of marketing and mega superstar. And he said Michael looked up at him with this kind of smile. And he says, Coach, I'm setting the screen, but the problem is you're too slow. And Bobby Knight says, what do you mean I'm too slow? He's throwing out some expletives. He goes, I'm setting them so fast, you just can't keep up with me. Gold medal game, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. And to think about what he did worldwide with the NBA beyond his amazing abilities, and you're going to try to compare that to LeBron James, I'm sorry. It's an empty argument. Just stop. Just stop. We will never see anyone play the game and change the game of basketball the way Michael Jordan did. End of story. I don't give a damn what generation you came from, and I don't care what the future holds. End of story. The game is not better today than it was when he was the star. The game was better then. You can say that about a lot of sports. The NFL's not better. Major League Baseball's not better. Weight training, athletes, all the AAU events, all these things, no, it's not better. But we'll get into this some, and I want to get everybody involved. Thanks for your support. Subscribe, like, and share the channel. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the hoops. Enjoy the stick and ball sports. Good luck to Radford. Good luck to Virginia Tech. And we will see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend.